everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone to my podcast, Renew Motherhood, and another episode about the importance of mothering yourself. And I'm so grateful to have this incredible coach, Nina Robert, with me. And yes, I'd like to welcome you, Nina, and tell us something about yourself, please.
Hello, Blanka, and thank you so much for inviting me today to your amazing podcast. So my name is Nina Robert. I live in Paris and I'm a success and mindset coach. Basically, I help people set up and achieve high goals, and I specialize in working with female entrepreneurs, especially, as well as leaders of all kinds or anybody who basically have any goal that they really desire and they want to achieve, but for some reason life happens and we get stuck um, in doing whatever we're doing and we're not evolving. So this is where I come and this is where I can help.
Wonderful. So, but there has been something that really made you think about how you can help. So, there is a little story. I know this from you. I would like you to share about your story because this is so
Absolutely.
amazing and this shows your strength and your commitment to really work on yourself, what you can actually give to others too.
I do have a story. And basically, my story was before I stepped into this coaching and mentoring business, I used to work as a manager for an IT corporation. And I worked as a project manager, team lead, the certain roles that will require you to manage people, to know what's going on, like behind what people are showing, to really go into the roots of the problems and to try problem solving, as well as managing relationships on the long term as well. So this taught me a lot about people, a lot about problem solving, and also many things I learned about shifting perspective and being open to see from another points of view. And as I was saying, life happens, and sometimes when there isn't like a real trigger to what's happening in life, people don't really make any change. Like my life a few years ago was not bad at all. I was very comfortable. I had a job that I loved. I had a team that I loved. Um, I was financially comfortable. I had nice things. I could travel. So really, there was absolutely nothing that would trigger me to go and make like this huge change, shift careers, and try to find my purpose and start looking to become an entrepreneur, start a business, and really like following this amazing goal that I set for myself that was very scary at the time. So I needed a trigger, I needed something, and I didn't know that I needed it until it happened. Basically, what that was that I got bad news. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and autoimmune diseases are funny thing because it really actually means that your body is really destroying itself for some reason. It just decided that, yeah, I'm gonna destroy this part, or I'm gonna cause pain in this part. And I really couldn't really figure it out, like, why is this happening to me? Why is part of my brain has decided that it's okay to do that, to cause this pain, to cause this harm, and to start acting against itself. So that triggered me to go into a few months of introspection, trying to figure out why this is happening. And once I knew why, I was finally at peace with myself, but I knew this was the beginning. This was the trigger for something bigger, because once you go like we say, deep into the rabbit hole, there's no coming back. There's so much to learn about yourself, and there's so much to um, evolve and to grow with, that you are no longer going to be satisfied and content with what you had before. So this is what happened to me. And eventually, yeah, I started asking questions and I started thinking that, yes, I'm going to do better than this. I can do better than this. And first of all, the first step was to cure myself, was to really find a way to make peace with myself.
That's so awesome. And I think it's a uncomfortable zone that you have been in, because just knowing your life is not perfect, but pretty good. And then figuring out you have got a disease which shows you that there is something that is not good inside of you, that is really destroying yourself. And this means that you haven't been aware of the part that is not belonging to you. So
Exactly.
this is crucial, I think, to really to yes, and I admire your commitment to do this healing, because there are so many ways that you can handle this situation differently. You could have walked to doctors. Have you
Yes.
been to doctors? Have you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what doctors do? They would treat the symptoms. They would give you whatever it is necessary to suppress that, like that symptom, that pain, or whatever it is that your body's showing you. They will just give you something to stop it. But no one is really searching for the root. And until you find the root cause, the problem is going to express itself differently. Like you will shut it down from one side, it will just show again from another side, because your body is trying to send you a message. And if you turn off notifications, the messages are still going to be sent to you. You're just refusing to listen and to see them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so what I did is basically I understood that part of my self-image, my attitude towards myself was subconscious. And as soon as I learned that, that was a huge wake-up call for me, because not everything is conscious. And even much so, the majority of our behavior, our attitude, whatever we think we are choosing, the majority of it is subconscious. We are not even aware of it. We're not even conscious that we're doing what we're doing until we become um, curious enough to ask questions, and until we become courageous enough and brave enough to go into that, down that rabbit hole, and to start asking the questions and be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, so wonderful. While you are working with entrepreneurs and leaders, you decided to help women in particular to build up a self-image of themselves.
Mhm.
So, what would you say is particularly important for women in this area? Because perhaps there is a difference to men. Would you say
Um,
this?
there is a difference, of course. I mean, the self-image is something universal. Every single person on earth has a self-image, and the self-image is whatever we think of ourselves, whatever we think our limits are, and whatever we think we are projecting. And as I was saying, part of it is really the majority of it, the major part is subconscious. So the self-image for me was a huge wake-up call to become aware of it. And I started thinking about how I can help people identify what the current self-image is and how they change it. I started with working with female entrepreneurs, because I think women in business have many, many challenges that men don't. Like for example, as when I was a little girl, I was top of my class, like, you know, the good model girl, but still, I was super shy and super introverted, because I was always told that I shouldn't be loud, I shouldn't show off, I shouldn't be too much out there, as they say. So I learned that this is bad, to show off and to evolve and to grow and to become even better than the best version of yourself. So I was taught that this is what should happen, but it's not the case. Let's face it. We have so much talent and so much potential within ourselves as women, and women tend to suppress all that because they're told they're too loud, they're wearing too much makeup, they're too out there, they're posting too many selfies, or whatever it is that society tells you it's to do or not to do. So for me, to start with female entrepreneurs was a personal challenge for me, because I was there. I started as an entrepreneur. I started my first business at 23 years old. That was the first IT company that I launched.
Wow.
at 23, but eventually I was told that this is too much. So I became um even depressed, and I thought, yeah, this is too much. I'm too successful for my age. I'm too successful for a girl. I'm too successful to be with my friends. Maybe no one is gonna like me anymore. So I just got back to corporate and I worked my 9 to 5, and I was just content because I was following everyone else's tracks. But this is wrong. And I wanted to like share this message and tell women that you owe it to yourself to become aware of your self-image, to become aware of your limitations, and to decide for yourself, is this what you've been told to do, or is this what you actually want to? So this is why I work with female entrepreneurs.
Yes, great. This is so amazing. And I'm so grateful that you just stepped into it so that you took the courage to do it.
Yes.
And yeah, so, well, I know as an IT expert and a manager in a company, you have really developed the recognizing of mistakes and, yes, tracking down mistakes. And yes, you have done this in the company, so
Mhm.
you are able to evolve this skill now, pro yes, producing it on the other side, on the men's side, on the women's side to
Mhm.
help people. So I think this is really great. And what would you say, are you qualified to help people? Talking about fresh pair of eyes, perhaps?
Yes, I think this could be my specialty actually, because I've always liked coaching and I've always listened to motivators and preachers. And, I've been to conferences, I've been to seminars, I've followed courses. And every time I walk out the door, I'm like, okay, I'm super motivated. I know I can do it. Everything makes sense. But the following day, nobody tells you what to do. Nobody tells you why this makes sense, why staying positive and having a daily routine is going to help me achieve my goals. Nobody tells us the recipe and the why. And as an IT engineer, I was an IT engineer before I become a manager. I wanted to put everything in an equation. I'm a mathematician, so I love when things make sense. So as much as I love philosophy and talking about positivity and spirituality, I also want things to make sense. So also working with corporations in management and doing problem solving activities all day long for many years have taught me even more to become more intellectual and to look for the why and to make things make sense. So this is where I combined what I learned from my mentor Bob Proctor, from his methodology in coaching, and from my experience as a manager and as an entrepreneur. I have to make things make sense, and I have to see it clearly, and I have to show it clearly to my clients so that it's not just words, it's not just motivation. I will show you exactly what you want. You show me what you want, and I'll show you how to do it step by step by following a very scientific method. And something else that is now my main focus is studying perception. I think perception is one of the best gifts that we are gifted by the universe. Perception is the way we have that we can switch our point of view, that we can look at things differently. And when you look differently at something, this situation or this thing changes, and your attitude towards it changes. And as long as you are aware of your ability to switch perspectives, you have so much power within you to change things and to make things happen.
Yes, wonderful. I love that way that you talk about the implementing, not
Mm-hmm.
only to learn, to gather all the information, but also to say, okay, what do I have to do with it now? How can I integrate it in my life and
Yeah,
to actually live with it? This is so wonderful. And that I think if you have done this for yourself, you are even better to give it to others because you know where they are and you know how it feels and you know their problems.
absolutely. I can relate because I've been there and I know exactly what it feels like. I know exactly what it looks like. And I know exactly the challenges that any other person that I'm coaching, any of my clients is facing. So I can switch perspectives and I can look from their point of view and I can show them my point of view and how I I was in the same situation and I overcame it. Something else that I wanted to add is that switching perceptions is giving us much more power that we are aware of, because some situations may present themselves as challenges, as triggers, as problems. But once we take a step back, focus on being responding rather than reacting, not letting our triggers, our traumas react in our place, but really deciding to take control, that changes the whole situation. That permits us to stay in control and really bring the solution, not just react and play the victim, which is much easier to do.
Yeah, so you would say that if you are reacting, you're already in a victim mode?
Yes, when you're reacting, you're not even taking the time to think about it.
Mhm.
And what triggers first is the victim, is the unhealed child that's within you. So this child is just directly crying for help, directly crying to be seen and to be heard, and not actually stepping back and taking control of the situation and taking responsibility of the situation. I think this is what's the main difference between responding and reacting is.
Oh wow, this is beautiful. I haven't seen this picture before, but it totally makes sense for me. So yeah, and I think this is crucial also if you are a mother, because you are so many times just reacting
Mhm.
if your children come to you and yes, or if you can see something happening with your children, the reacting place is always there.
Yeah.
So the awareness, I think it's a kind of awareness. Would you agree?
It is. Yeah, it's absolutely all about awareness. When you are more aware of the situation, you can actually hear what you're about to say or the thought that you're about to think, and you can stop it because your conscious mind has the ability to choose whatever thoughts that the mind will accept or reject or ignore. Sometimes it's you can just change the subject and just move on. Sometimes you can listen to something or to someone and say, I'm not going to get emotionally involved with it. I'm going to refuse this idea and not really get triggered by it. And sometimes it makes sense, you accept it, but always remember that awareness is the first step and that you always have a choice.
Yes, that's beautiful. Well, you mentioned that you are coaching. So are you making group coachings or one-on-one? And what would you say makes the difference or
I'm
prefer?
doing the two, like both group coaching and one-on-one. Some people prefer one-on-one, especially at the beginning, if the coaching and the mentoring experience is quite new to them. They are more comfortable being one-on-one with the coach, so they're more comfortable sharing, they're more comfortable expressing emotions and talking about their challenges. And some other people are more comfortable and benefit more from the presence of a group, of a community that has more or less the same challenges, the same, I wouldn't say problems, but goals or things they're working on. Being in a community and being in a safe space to share and to ask questions and to hear another person's point of view and maybe to hear similar stories, it really adds a lot to the coaching experience. It adds a lot to the growth experience that we experience as a group, because you know you're not alone and you can ask questions and you can also relate to other people's problems, and you also come with the intention to help each and every one inside the group. So both can be beneficial depending on what level of awareness or level of growth or level of personal journey, I would say, the person is at.
Yes, that's so wonderful. I think it's such a positive place to be, and
Yes,
I love this.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, as a mother, I'm used to make up my mind about healing my kids. And you've mentioned it before. There is another kid that can be
Mhm.
healed or should be healed so that you can become a greater version of yourself. And this is your inner child. What is
Absolutely.
your inner child? Which I would like you to talk about this.
I would love to, because the inner child is the kid that needs absolute healing before anyone else in the world. Because the inner child, um, I mean, the naming looks cute, but the inner child actually controls the majority of your choices in life for the rest of your life. Some people spend their whole life healing the inner child until they are becoming aware of this inner child, and they're becoming aware of what triggers you, because actually your triggers are unhealed traumas. Whatever makes you angry without explanation, like super triggering, or whatever unrealistic choices that you have made, or whatever risks that you took, for some reason you're following your intuition, or you are just actually listening to this inner child. For me, for example, the inner child always wanted to be seen, but was taught not to make too much noise, not to be too visible. And eventually, this inner child always thought that I was invisible, that whatever I'm doing, I'm not going to be seen, I'm not going to be heard, I'm not going to be taken seriously. That adds to the fact that I'm a woman in a very masculine society and wanting to be an entrepreneur and a manager. So that adds to the challenge and even triggers more the inner child. The inner child in me made itself heard through this disease, for example, because autoimmune diseases and diseases in general are, let's hyphenate the word dis-ease. It's your body is not at ease because your mind is not at ease. And your mind is actually, part of it is subconscious, and the subconscious mind is built through your childhood, through your traumas, through the good and the bad, and eventually it will, absolutely will, every time express itself through your body, through whatever is going on, through your attitude, through developing allergies, through diseases, through like your level of energy throughout the day, through whatever triggers you or causes you these weird emotions. It's your inner child, it's your subconscious trying to make itself heard.
Yes, that's wonderful. So this is a huge part. And what would you say can you gain if you can heal? What is there a way really to heal it completely? And what
Uh,
could you gain if you can heal your inner child?
I wouldn't say completely, because healing is part of human experience,
Mm.
and it's an ongoing thing that we're doing throughout our life. So there's a lot to gain. First of all, we gain control, taking control of our life, and being really aware that whatever is happening in my life now is my responsibility. It's my responsibility that whatever happened, happened. It's my responsibility to take control and to say, okay, I'm responsible for that. And I will own it and I will live with it. I will decide to either let it go, forgive and forget, or deal with it, find a solution, or just ignore it and move on. If my inner child is healed, I'm no longer triggered by people, by the same situations over and over again. And I think the most important thing that we can gain is to step out of the loops that the majority of people are living in. We are living in loops of the same toxic relationships, the same jobs that we hate, but we stay in for many years, the same triggers that always trigger the same behavior and attitude in us. We would start a new habit, or we would start going to the gym, or start doing a diet, and for some reason we sabotage ourselves. These are all loops that are subconscious, and again, it goes all back to the inner child.
Oh, wow. So you can gain a lot. And I would say, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the essence of it could be freedom and independence.
Absolutely. Yes,
Oh,
freedom is the main thing to gain from healing the inner child. And stepping outside of this loop is basically when we break the chains of this stigma that we are impressing upon ourselves, and we are finally free to own whatever it is that we're living and to take full responsibility, but also to decide whatever life we want to live, and to decide that we are able to do it.
wow. Well, this should be really making everybody think about healing
Yeah, I
your
would
inner
love to.
child. I think it's wonderful what you can get. And if you focus on what you can get, I think the way to go this, the path might become a little not comfortable, but easier to go. What would you say?
I would say it will become worth it
Yeah.
because nobody listens to the child until the child starting to make problems and starting to cause trouble. This is like the only situation where we actually listen to what the child is screaming about. And when the child started making problems and causing trouble, there's a lot to gain, but I think the most precious thing that anyone could gain throughout their life is understanding and awareness.
Mm.
Once we understand what the situation really is, once we are really empowered to switch perspectives and to look from another point of view, and once we are really empowered to say, I'm not the victim, I'm totally owning this, I'm totally going to take responsibility because I know I can change things. The child, the inner child that is the victim, cannot take control or does not think that they can take control, so they prefer to blame someone else, or get triggered by the situation, or just cause some weird attitude and get really emotionally triggered, whenever the situation presents itself. But if this child is aware finally that they can actually have the power to change things, they will become calm and the attitude will become better. And your attitude is really controlling all of your results in life. Everything is controlled by attitude.
Oh, wow. Well, I actually become calm just listening to you. The self-healing just right now. Well, you're also an author of two books, and
I,
I would like to mention your books as well because I would highly recommend to read these. I haven't yet, but I will. And what are the titles of your book?
so the first book is called Clean Up Your Life. It's basically a journey to do a house cleaning of 5 areas of your life that are the body, the mind, the time, your home, and your environment. I
Wow.
think these are the 5 main areas that really impact your life, impact your health, impact your productivity, your results, your overall well-being. So I would start doing this house cleaning, and the book also includes few exercises that you can do on a daily basis to start making a few changes. And as any other habit, it builds with repetition, it builds with consistency, and eventually you will see the results. You will see that your life is getting clearer, your thoughts are getting clearer, and things start making much more sense, and you are reaching your goals quite more easily.
Wow.
The
Really
second
excited.
book
So
is
a kind of workbook.
yes, absolutely. It is a workbook. My second
Wow.
book is also a workbook. I always, as I told you before, I always want things to make sense, and I always want to put the recipe, not just give you the cake, but also give you the recipe.
Wow,
So
wonderful.
the second book is called Mind Fitness for Entrepreneurs, and it's designed for entrepreneurs to guide them through 6 mental faculties that we have. We all have these 6 mental faculties that are intuition, imagination, the memory, the will that is our ability to focus, um, perception, and reason. So these are 6 mental faculties that each one of us have, and we can actually strengthen and sharpen these mental faculties. Think of them as mental muscles. So with exercise and with bringing more awareness and more brain to mind connection, you can actually strengthen them and sharpen them and use them as tools in your business. Because when you are mentally sharp, everything makes sense and everything is easy because you can make decisions like that. You can take risks, but you can also use reason to make things logical and makes sense. You can switch perception, so you are still open-minded to the market, to your clients, to your competitors. You can use your memory to become a more charismatic person, to learn more about people and to show people that you care because you remember. So things like that, also with exercises that are designed to help entrepreneurs especially.
Wow, this sounds so good that I'm just thinking about I would like my children to read those books too, especially the second one about those six mental faculties,
Yeah.
because it's another form of education. Would you say there is an age you have to be to read this?
Actually, you can literally teach that to a 5-year-old
Oh,
because
wow.
it's really like simply explained. The concepts are really so simple and the exercises are so easily to implement. There is nothing metaphysical or spiritual about it. It's really just science, and it's explained in a way that my mentor Bob Proctor used to. Very simple and very easy to implement. You just need to stay open-minded. And I think the most open-minded people out there are children. They're all about learning, and they all want to learn. We think that the child wants to play, but the child is actually learning something new and is excited about learning something new. So I would absolutely recommend this to any person that can read.
That's great. Another educational system. I
It
love
is.
it. So thank you very, very much for being on my call, for being on this podcast. I'm so grateful that you joined me. And I just like to wrap everything up now. And yes, thank you. And I would like everyone to follow this podcast with the new episodes. And yes, I'm excited to share more. Thank you very much, Nina, for being with me here.
Thank
And
you for having
yes,
me.
all the best. I will share everything in the description so everyone can reach out to you. And I wish everyone a wonderful day.
Thank you, Blanca. Bye, everyone.